Hi everybody, my name is David Neyts, and today's topic is going to be about how do you judge yourself? By what standards do you judge yourself? A lot of times people judge themselves in this society on how much wealth they have, on how much they're doing well within their business, their career, their dreams, their accomplishments. But is that really success? That's a success that people have told us from YouTube videos, from all the time, those videos online saying about how I became successful, from how people judge us from that success. But does that make us a good human being? Does that make us a good person? Does that make it better for us? Have we succeeded more in life because we've made more money, we've had more children, we've visited more places in this world? Well, partly. Some of it is like that. But at the same time, I think that there's just so much more. Money is a concept that it's a bartering thing that we've always had. You barter this and you get this. So it's important because that's how our society has been created. But also at the same time, it's not because you have millions and millions of dollars where you just can buy whatever you want, or because you drive a nice car or you have a nice house, that you're successful or a good person. On the contrary, you could be a very terrible person because maybe the things you did to get to that point are terrible. And usually if you're able to work like an ant and be obsessed with something 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, if you're lucky and that obsession is something that can generate money, well, then great, because you are successful in the business world. But that does not make you successful within yourself. And that's not because you need to judge yourself. You're not going to judge yourself better from the fact that you have more money than somebody else. But I do think that a lot of people judge themselves upon the standards that are within our society, the standards that people believe are the standards that create success. And I think we also tend to compare ourselves to other people. So we say, oh, this person at this age had this person at that age had that. Oh, we need to be able to do this, have this kind of diploma because most people have it. We need to do that because that's what is society, that's how things are. But I think that by judging ourselves in that way, we kind of stop ourselves from living sometimes. It's kind of like you go to a place, maybe you love to move and let's say you love to dance, but because you're a terrible dancer, you judge yourself, so you stop yourself from dancing and you just don't do it. So you just stare because you're overwhelmed by maybe the level of the other people, but maybe they're not that good themselves, but you're seeing them through the glamour eyes of someone who just feels that they are less than what they're worth. And that goes with a lot of things. It goes even with the jobs you're trying to get. If you're trying to get a certain job, if you value yourself highly, you will inevitably get a better job than if you value yourself less highly. Of course, you can't just be crazy either. You can't just say, hey, I've never had a job and I want to be paid as much as the CEO of the company because that's what I'm worth. You might be worth it, but you also have to prove yourself through experience and through time. But if you are really that worthy, well, the people within that company will realize it. And if you are, after a certain point, disappointed with how they're treating you, well, you can always go somewhere else because you know that you killed it at one job or the other job and you are worth that. So you are judging yourself within that worth. So I think it's important to understand all these differences, because we all have self-worth, and a lot of times it's kind of like a comedian. For example, if you go on stage but you're never getting any laughs, well, you're going to judge yourself badly, because you're going to say, hey, people just don't think that I'm funny. And it starts at a very young age. You usually tend to do the things that you are good at, that people say, you're innate at something, you have a gift for something. Well, sometimes it does come with luck, because maybe they gave you one instrument or another instrument, and you for some reason really like the sound, so you start obsessing with it and you start playing with it as a kid. And maybe something that turns a game into a game, you did it for a few hours, and then at the same time you get to a point where you're like, hey, this is sounding good, and then maybe your parents listen to it and they say, oh wow, my kid has talent. Let me give him some classes so he can develop that talent. But what if you had no parents that would, like, they would see you playing, but they don't have the money to give you that teacher, so, or they don't even have the money to give you that guitar or whatever you're trying to play, and it was just at some friend's house or whatever, so you just leave it at the friend's house and you never play it again. But you might have had that gift in some way, which is the gift in some way of wanting to play it because you enjoy the sound, so you start learning about it more and more. And then so that's the thing, is that some people live in a way where you're able to develop stuff, and some other people live in a way where they're not able to develop things. And that's where it gets kind of complicated, because if you have parents, you know how they say that the millennials have this whole problem? It's because we have this whole thing of just always being very supportive to our kid, which is a good thing, but too much freedom, too much support, saying you're always special. Well, then what happens is that if everything you do, you're getting praised for it, then you're going to feel special and entitled. And then when you get to a point when you're an adult, then you don't know anymore what's special or not, because then you're an adult and you're like, wait, they've told me I was special all this time, and now that I'm an adult I can't find a job, so was that really special? And that's when you start having self-doubt. But then you live in this little bubble. If it's kind of like being a sort of like king or queen, where everybody around you praises you, even if you did something bad, they don't dare to tell you because they don't want to have their head chopped off, the olden day kings and queens. And I think that's funny, because then it's kind of like the celebrity syndrome, where everybody's trying to get something from you. Everybody's trying to praise you all the time. They always roll out the red carpet for you, so you start having a very high self-worth of you, but it's just because you were in this movie or that movie at that time and it was popular, and people remember you from that and they think that you are that. But this was a script that was handed to you, or where you were lucky enough to portray that person, and for that movie to come out at that perfect time where it got known, and then you are known for that and people love you for that. But are they better than me? They still get angry, they still cry, they still are humans, they still are humans basically. So I don't think that because somebody is in a very high position that they are necessarily better than me, or that I should think of myself less highly because I make less money than someone else, or have a family or no family, or less big of a house and all that stuff. You need to just try to look at yourself from inside, understand what you are really worth, what you want out of life, and if you feel that you are worthy of things, things will come. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.